I'm going to make a tart. And you need pieces of mushroom or whole mushrooms. You can make them smaller, but it's nice to have pieces. And we're going to take some onion. This is half an onion left over. And I'm saving the end to try and grow it. There you are. Put that to the side. Just a small amount of onion. Now, this is stock, my homemade stock again. This one was actually a leek chicken stock. I cooked the chicken with leeks in almost like a casserole, and that is the liquid from it. Now, so I've got my stock, and you can see it's very jelly-like. It's a very good stock. And a little bit of the, we're going to turn it on, and you add the mushrooms and the onions into this cold mixture. You could use a stock cube or a vegetable cube, depending on whether you're vegetarian. You can use anything you like. You're adding a bit of flavour to the water. That's all you're doing. And you're going to boil these. So we get it up to heat. Boiled mushrooms taste better. So I'm inclined to boil them, and then I put butter with them, garlic with them, whatever I want with them, always pepper, and give them a little fry afterwards. But you'll see, we'll leave those on the side, and we'll take the tray. This is wonderful stuff. It's already pre-rolled. It's pure butter puff pastry or flaky pastry. It comes with its own sheet of silicone paper. Oh, leave the oven on. And we want it slightly higher in the oven. I like to get a lot of heat underneath this and let it puff up. You unroll it. This is probably the hardest part of it. This is such an easy recipe, anyone can do it. I use the weight to help it unstick from the paper. There you are, all done. Now, why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing that to stop it burning in the oven. It doesn't burn, but it goes very crispy and it worries me. And there's no reason to have it flapping about either. Take a little piece of water. Little drop of water. Now, wet your fingers, and you can see, by the way, these are now bubbling. Just very lightly wet the edges. Now, using the paper, start it off. Once I've got it going, you can pull it up. Now what you're doing, you're making a little wall around the edge. It looks quite nice, and because it's water, it will stick. I've seen a lot of people using egg. Don't use egg, it doesn't work very well. Egg just makes things look a pretty colour. You can see this is now beginning to bubble, and they will cook. It's very simple. They go tender and very, very yummy. Perhaps yummy is not a very good word. Okay, now then. Anyone can do this. Children like to do this for you. Saves you a lot of time if you have children. There you are. That doesn't look quite so pretty. I think food should look pretty because it's just part of the joy of eating, isn't it? Now, we've got that bit there. Now this is a piece of very smelly goat's cheese. You don't have to use goat's cheese if you don't like it. But as you can see, it's very, very ripe. This actually comes from an interesting place in the middle of France, slightly south, but the middle. And it's a sheep's cheese, but it's a sheep cheese making region. And this part here, they use goats. And it is probably the nicest. It's near a place called Rocamadour, which is a very famous site to visit. Now, as you can see, I'm just smearing this. Why am I not using a spoon? Well, because a spoon is probably too harsh and will make nasty little marks in your pastry. Why haven't I cut it? Because it'll stick to everything. Why have I waited till it's so ripe? Well, by waiting till it's so ripe, I've got the maximum amount of flavour to go with my mushrooms. If you don't like the cheese, leave it out and use creme fraiche. It's not a problem. But it forms a barrier between anything wet, which would spoil your pastry, because it really is very rich in fat and it just tastes delicious. There, I think almost everywhere has got something. It's very difficult and messy to do, yes. Not difficult, just messy. I'm going to clean my hands. Let's poke these around a little bit. I've used quite a lot of stock. You don't actually need quite as much as that if you don't want to, but you need about a wine glass of stock. And we just let it cook. Very simple. So it's putting flavour, it's making them tender, and once we have reduced the liquid down to almost nothing, then I'm going to add some creme fraiche, mix it up and put it on the top of the tart. This is a wonderful vegetarian dish if you hadn't used the chicken stock. But you didn't have to use the chicken stock. Most of the foods that I cook can be made a vegetarian version, but we just happen to eat meat, that's all. It's now getting low. The mushrooms have shrunk a little bit. And as you can see, we're getting to the very, very end. Now it will stick at this point if you don't add something. So I'm going to add, please don't stop it sticking, some chives, because they look pretty. I'm always saying that, aren't I? Some black pepper. I'm not adding garlic because we've already got leeks and onion in this. And now chives. Now can you see? It's almost dry. So I'm going to add this little bit here. This makes a very creamy, luxurious sauce. It looks really sophisticated. Now I'll take it off. That beep beep. That beep 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 was the oven. So the oven is now at temperature. all those flavours now taste really nice. Okay. That's gone into a hot oven of 175 and it's on fan. I probably will leave that in for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it. When it's risen and going all lovely and golden, then I'll come back. Oh dear, it's dropped out of its bowl already. I'm definitely not on the ball today. Right, now this is just an ordinary salad, several different sorts of leaves, and I've used balsamic vinegar and this olive oil. This one's particularly interesting. And this particular variety is the most robust in terms of when you fry with it, but it has a much more pungent smell. It's more olivey, but it's a deeper smell. It's not so fruity. I quite like this, and it's an intense colour, but as they've done the bottle so you can't see it, it's a very intense colour. But it's an interesting one. If there are basically 3 varieties you can get here. The other one that's very, very plain and delicate is this one here. I'm not even trying to pronounce these because I don't know how the Spanish sound everything. Well, there's a lot of sounds, isn't it? So there you are. But this particular oil is more delicate. I wouldn't say it's lighter because it's still very viscous, but it has a very different flavour. But I'm very into olive oil. I just can't help it. I like it. Now we're going to go and have a quick look. That to me looks like we might be there. Let's just have a quick look. Another couple of minutes to crisp it because it is actually cooked. It just needs crisping. Really is yummy. This is an example of misusing a tool for a better purpose. This is known as a herb chopper. But look at this work on a pizza. And I am one of the world's servers who really make a mess of everything. I can't cut cakes, can't do anything, but this changes the game. Now, why would you waste it on just chopping? Oh, that tastes good. You'll like that. You will, I promise.